All right, good morning. My name is Dele Ayemibo, and we're on to another episode of Import Export Platform, Facebook Live, brought to you by 3T Impes Trade Academy. Today we're going to be looking at a fresh episode, and this fresh episode is so important in the sense that it's going to help individuals looking for a space in the trade, looking for a space within the trade sector, that's import-export sector, to be able to render some support services, especially the banks, to be able to render some support services to import and export trade customer. So they will be looking at the emerging support services for trade customers. Emerging support services for trade customers. And I'll be talking specifically to banks or bankers and to individuals that want to render support services. You don't want to be an exporter or importer, but you want to learn about trade in order to be able to add some value to trade customers in Nigeria. Because look, trade is going to grow, import is going to grow, export is going to grow, because our population is growing. Africa is going to wake up from their slumbering. We are seeing it already happening in Rwanda, we are seeing it already happening in Ghana, we are seeing it already happening in Morocco and a number of other African countries. So if you are not looking at maybe export of goods itself, but you don't mind rendering services, support services to importers and exporters to be able to help them grow their business, then maybe this session is for you. Because like I said, we're looking at emerging support services for trade customers. By trade customers, I mean import customers and export customers. And specifically, I'm talking to bankers. You know, bankers need to raise deposit. They need to mobilize deposit for their customers. For their banks, rather, as a staff of the bank. And one of the challenges they tend to face is inability to be able to know exactly what they need to do to be able to raise those deposits. And you know, I'm a Christian, and the scripture says that the labor of a foolish man wearieth every one of them, because they don't know how to go to the city. You're working and working, you're stressing, and you're not thinking strategically. How best can I do this thing? In what way can I achieve this objective? As a banker, you have a target, deposit target, and income target. As an individual who renders services, you are looking for other areas where you can render services to business. I tell you, you can do a lot within the trade space. Within the trade space. So what I will be discussing in the next few days is emerging support services for trade customers. Silas Irabo, thank you very much for joining. Good morning and welcome. When you see two people trying to achieve a particular objective, more often than not, what you tend to see is that one person is able to work smart while the other is working very hard. They might achieve the same objective, but one is already stressed to achieve that objective. And that's why I'll be talking to a lot of bankers today who are marketers. And marketers in general, if you're a marketer in your place of work, in general, things you need to do to be able to attract customers and be able to meet up with your target. So at the end of this series on the emerging support services for trade customers, for you as an employee, it will help you to be able to examine your life and career again, to determine if you are making the right decision in your career. Also to plan for your future of business, to have a dream of a desired future, to make necessary adjustments where necessary, especially if you are a marketer, and begin to live a more meaningful and impactful life. Not just going to customer begging for deposit, whereas you can add a lot of value to your business and attract that deposit without begging for it. Strategize also on how to give your best to your employer, and also to change your paradigm about work. I will attempt also to change your paradigm about money so that you can stop pursuing success and, of course, go for significance. You know, sometimes I ask, when I go to train marketers, I ask them that, do you desire to meet and surpass your deposit target? Of course, they say yes. And I ask again, do you desire to meet and surpass your income target? They say yes. Then I ask again, do you desire a special reward in form of an uninterrupted annual promotion on your job? Of course they want it and say yes. Do you desire a brilliant performance that attracts the management attention because of your outstanding performance? Of course they say yes. Do you desire to keep your job and live without the fear of losing it? Of course they say yes. Do you desire a better income, better life, and of course better standard of living in general? Of course they say yes. And then I end up with the question, do you desire a fulfilling career that prepare you for life outside this job? And of course, they said yes. And I'm saying, importer and exporter have a lot of challenges in Nigeria and other part of the world. And that what we should begin to do as individuals that want to consult is to see how you can solve those problems, or as bankers who are looking for deposit or generate income for your bank, that you should also begin to consider this particular space. Now, I want to take us through a career ladder. I'm talking about the reason why a typical banker needs to focus on trade and the need for them to really develop themselves. And not just for banker, if an employee generally, for you to develop yourself. You need to understand the fact that at some point you were a student, then you transit to become an employee, and later you will move away from employee to become self-employed. You are going to transit from employee to self-employed, either voluntarily or compulsorily, by retirement, retrenchment, or the resignation. At some point, that will happen. The question is, will you be prepared for it? And you're supposed to grow that business from self-employed to become a business owner, in which now the system works for you, and you're not directly involved in the business. And then you can become an investor where your money works for you. And more importantly is to now end up your life and career, become a philanthropy by giving back to the society. You know why people are not able to meet their target, especially for bankers? Because sometimes many people have not defined what they want from work because of the wrong definition of work. What kind of worker are you? And how have you defined the work you're doing? What kind of worker are you? And how have you defined the work you're doing? My opinion about work is that work, W-O-R-K, is where one receives knowledge. But unfortunately, the society has called it as way of rewarding know-how. Way of rewarding know-how. So for a typical employee, is seeing work as way of rewarding know-how, whereas work should be where one receives knowledge. Why do I call work where one receives knowledge? Because with work, you grow. You grow your earning, you grow your income. You get better on the job by virtue of what you've learned. And that's why a new staff on that job is called a rookie. You are called an experienced staff because of what you have learned. And that's what distinguishes you really from someone who just joined. Mary Ellen Nadi, thank you very much for joining. Good morning and welcome. So what kind of worker are you? Do you know that some workers are forced worker and some are forced worker? Some are faithful worker while others are free workers. The forced worker are the deceptive worker. They don't like working and they don't like the job. They lack skill to deliver as expected, so it's very easy to lay them off. What kind of worker are you? Are you a forced, deceptive worker? If you have been on your job for more than a year or two, then you can't be a forced worker. A forced worker does not last on any job. But many are forced worker, compelled to do the work. F-O-R-C-E-D, forced worker. They like working, but they don't like that job. They are forced to do the job to pay their bill. They have the skill and could deliver with more effort, but they don't like what they are doing. No wonder they are not developing themselves to be able to solve the customer's problem. If you are a marketer and you are in the banking sector, I'm talking to you this morning about the opportunity ahead of you in trade. Now, if you solve that problem, we are going to be able to grow trade in Nigeria, and you will be able to grow your deposit and income target. But for you to solve that problem, then you need to be cubed. You need to develop yourself. But if you are a forced worker, you will not be able to develop yourself. Thank you very much, Helen. Thank you for your comment. Thank you very much. You won't be able to develop yourself. If you are a forced worker, you won't be able to develop yourself. Why? Because you are compelled to do the job. And when you develop yourself, you think you are doing it for the job, for the boss. You don't know you are doing it for yourself. Some are faithful workers. You know, the people I pity most in any organization are the faithful workers. You know why? They like working and they like the job. They deliver faithfully, but they do it for the wrong reason. They do it to get to the top because of financial gain. And most of the time, they don't get to the top. So they become very pained. They become very, very hurting. They begin to hate the organization. They hate everybody and everything around them. And they fight everyone because they feel they are being unfairly treated. Because they put in their best. But nobody considers them for promotion or increase in salary. Because they think they are working for money, for financial gain, to get to the top. And that's a very wrong objective to have in the workplace. That's a very wrong objective to have in the workplace. If you have that kind of objective in the workplace, you will be frustrated. You will feel used because you think you're working to be able to get to the top for financial gain, but you don't have control over your promotion. You don't have control over what you earn. You don't have control over, how you're treated. You don't have control over how, the kind, how much you earn, the promotion you get at the place of work. Why? Because exigencies of the management determine that. If the manager determines necessary, they will do it. If they determine necessary, they won't do it. Why? Because they want to save cost so that the organization can survive. So you must have a different reason why you are working, so that at the end of the day, you can be happy where you are working, because you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be happy. If you're not happy where you're working, you'll be able to give in your best. But if you have wrongly defined work, then of course, you are going to be very sad, feel used and unhappy on that job because of your wrong definition. The last set of workers are the free workers. They like working, they like the job, they deliver excellently on the job. But they have capacity to get to the top easily. However, they are working for their dream and not for the employer. They are working for their dream and not for the employer. They are working for their dream and not for the employer. Who are you working for? Are you working just for the employer, or you are working for your dream? Do you have an ideal picture of the future you desire? Is that what is driving you in whatever you do? Or you are just carried away with the idea of going to work and just earn money? And then at the end of the day, when the money is not coming the way you want to, you get frustrated. What kind of worker are you? What kind of worker are you? Majek Okunla, thank you very much for joining. Good morning and welcome. What kind of worker are you? If you are working in an organization, you need to define the work correctly. It's not just work you have to define. You need to define, if you are married, your husband. If you are married, your wife. You need to define your children. You need to define everything around you, because your definition shows the way you use them. If you don't define it correctly, you will abuse those people around you. If you don't define it correctly. If you don't define work correctly, you will also abuse work. You won't be able to get the best from work. Remember, we are discussing emerging support services for trade customers. And I'm talking specifically to entrepreneurs who want to render support services to trade customers. They don't want to export or import, but they are into service industry and they want to render support services to trade customers. And of course, I'm talking to marketers, especially bankers, who have income and deposit target, and they are trying to get that target or meet that target, but they are unable to meet the target, mainly because they are going about getting the target in the wrong way. And I'm saying, focus on marketing trade customers, support trade customers, assist them to achieve their objective, and you will be smiling because they will help you to be able to meet up with your income and deposit target. Ralph Abiodun, thank you very much for joining. Good morning. You know, for you to achieve your objective in anything in life, one thing you must learn, one thing you must know, number one, is that we are all ignorant in one area of our life or the other. And there's nothing wrong being ignorant. Ignorance is a gift. It keeps everybody humble. What I know you don't know. What you know I don't know. So we need each other. We need one another to be able to achieve our objective in life. That is why, because of that ignorance, that's why you need willingness to learn and willingness to change. And that is called the teachability index. Willingness to learn and willingness to change. The higher your teachability index, the higher your willingness to learn and willingness to change, the higher your teachability index. The higher your teachability index, the higher your chance of success in life. The higher your teachability index, the higher your chance of success in life. The lower your teachability index, the lower your chance of success in life. Because willingness to learn and willingness to change determine your teachability index. And you can only get better with learning. When you learn, your eyes are open. It's like a scale removed from your eyes. It makes you move faster and go further. You are able to move faster and go further and go far in life because your eyes are open when you learn. So it's extremely important you learn. You are given to learning. We should be give ourselves to lifelong learning. As human beings, we are learning machine. If there is any area of life you are finding it difficult to make progress, in your job, in your career, in your business, just know, accept that it is ignorance. Like I said, ignorance is a gift. It keeps you humble to go and learn. And that's why we are discussing this morning, emerging support service or trade customers. And I'm focusing on two sets of people. I'm focusing on employee and entrepreneur. I'm focusing on entrepreneur that want to render support services to mammoth importers and exporters having huge challenges in Nigeria. You want to render support services to them. I'm also focusing on marketers, especially those in banks who are unable to meet their income and deposit target, and to tell them that begin to focus on trade customers. If you are able to solve the problem of trade customers, then of course you attract them to yourself. You attract them to do business with your bank. You attract them to come and open that account you want them to open. The next question I want to ask is, what is your net worth? Remember, I've asked the first question. What's your definition of work? I've asked the second question. What type of worker are you? The third question, what is your net worth? When you answer the right question, you are able to make desired progress. When you ask the right question and you get answer to it, you make desired progress. I'm not talking about the skill you have acquired. I'm not talking about the money in your account. When I'm talking about your net worth, not the money in your bank account. No. I'm talking in terms of the skill you have acquired. I'm talking about the competence you have developed. I'm talking about the certification or degree you have done. I'm talking about the trade or vocation you have learned. I'm talking about the kind of problem you can solve for people. I'm talking about the product or service you have developed and you can sell. I'm talking about the quality of people in your network. To determine your net worth, you need to check out your credibility. You need to check out your companion relationship. You need to check out your character. You need to check out your competence. Credibility, consistency of result. Companion, consistency of relationship. Character, consistency of conduct. Competence, consistency of performance. These are called the intangible money or intangible resources that can attract tangible cash to you as an individual, in business or as an employee. If you are developing your net worth to be able to render that support services to trade customer. Why are we focusing on trade customer this morning? Why are we focusing on trade customer this morning? Number one, trade is common in most sectors. Almost every sector of the economy, you have someone doing a particular kind of trade. Trade is common to most sectors. Trade is common to most sectors. Number two, over 60,000 companies. Number three, importers are huge in Nigeria. And these importers in Nigeria need to build up their fund. And this is an advantage for a trade consultant, more importantly, a banker who wants to generate deposit from trade customers. To build up their fund. And also, trade business have a high growth rate. Trade business have a high growth rate. You know why? Because our population is growing. The demand for what is being imported is growing. So most trade business keep growing and increasing and expanding. Most banks have mastered trade finance, but more on the import side. So you can add value to these customers. They all need bank for documentation. For you as banker, this trade customer need you for documentation. You have an advantage to market them. Most big companies import for survival. Either they are importing to sell or they are importing raw materials. Importers keep increasing, like I said, due to population. And you know what? A good chunk of inflow into this country are as a result of trade, export trade. In 2017, we earned over $40 billion. Interruption in my call. We are able to buy goods that is worth $28 billion. So there is huge opportunities in this space for bankers to come and market trade customers in order to solve their problem. Why international trade? The world is a trade center. The world is a trade center. Trade is lifeline for any nation. You want to consider a career in international trade because trade is a lifeline for any nation. No nation can grow its economy to desired size without trading. Most top developed economy of the world are trading nations. They trade in trillions of dollars. It makes you to perpetually relevant when you are in the space of trade. You can practice as both employee and entrepreneur because of the different area of trade, of international trade. There are many options for you, therefore, for both employee and entrepreneur. There are global certification that can make you relevant even outside your country. So if you're a consultant, you want to come into the space of trade, or you're an importer or you're a banker who also want to generate deposit and income for your bank. And I'm telling you, you need to get it from trade customers. If you develop skill to market trade customer, that is not just relevant in Nigeria, it's relevant outside Nigeria. If you have, do some of the global trade certification. It is a tool for global expansion. For your customer, the customer can begin to think of selling outside Nigeria, and you as a banker can support them to make this happen. It makes you contribute to poverty alleviation. By exporting, you create more jobs. By exporting finished product, you create more jobs and thereby alleviating poverty. As employee, you are able to add value as account officers in bringing in more trade customers to the bank, in helping them structure their trade finance, in also assisting with legal issues as far as trade is concerned if you're a lawyer. And of course, if you're an entrepreneur, you can be a trade broker, trade consultant, importers, exporters, and trade lawyers. Now, why should a banker who is looking for trade customer consider marketing importer? Why should you market an importer? Why should you be interested in marketing an importer? What is it that is so interesting and important that can help you achieve your target and goal as a banker? If you are listening to me and you have friends that are bankers, maybe you want to share this video with them. A lot of bankers are struggling to meet up with their target. They are struggling, and some of them are losing their job. They are finding it very challenging to meet up with their target. But there is a secret to getting this done. And that's what we are discussing this morning. That if only they can just focus on trade customers, importers and exporters, they will find it a lot easier. But to focus on those trade customers, they must be fixing their challenges and problems. And that's why we are talking about the emerging support services for trade customers. Emerging support service for trade customers. They can be rendered by you as an entrepreneur for trade customers. It can also be rendered by a bank to a trade customer. What's the potential opportunity for a banker among the import trade customer? Number one, who are the potential customer rather? Potential customer. Now, by potential customer, I mean if you are a trade consultant, you want to be a trade consultant, you want to render support service to trade customer, or you are a banker, you want to market trade customers. Who are your typical customers on the import side? Wholesalers and distributors. Traders who are wholesalers and distributors. People who just buy to sell. They just import to sell. These are your customers. Number two, large and small scale manufacturers. Large and small scale manufacturers. Both the large manufacturers, the medium and small scale manufacturers. These are potential customers. You know why? They have to import raw materials, import machinery, import packaging material. So they import. So they are your typical customers. They are your typical customer. Clearing and forwarding agent and logistic company. Clearing and forwarding agent and logistic company. They are your typical customer because they are the one that link you and connect you to this trade customer. Supply contractors to large corporate and government agency. Supply contractor to large corporate and government agencies. Peter M. Omeike, thank you very much for joining. Good morning and welcome. And then, of course, government agencies. These are potential customers. Remember, we are talking about emerging support services for trade customers. And we are looking at bankers who need to meet up with their income and deposit target. And we are looking at individuals who want to render support services to be able to earn some income by serving and solving the problem of trade customers in Nigeria. Can we look at the export side? Who are the typical customer on the export side? Who are the people on the export side you want to consider? Who are the people on the export side that you can market and be able to generate that income and deposit as a banker, or that you can render support services to as a consultant who wants to render support services within the trade space? These are number one, importers looking for new ways of generating foreign exchange. Do you know that a lot of banks, a lot of importers have big issue during the recession? They suddenly realize that the lifeline of their business is in the hand of CBN, because CBN is the one allocating forex. And they are beginning to get wise by sourcing their own foreign exchange themselves. They are getting wiser to sell their foreign exchange themselves. And what do they need to do? They need to begin to export. That's why we need more consultants who can help them to source for buyers abroad. And that's why you need to be trained. If you become trained, you can acquire skill and you can render support services to many trade customers. You can render support service to many importers in Nigeria to fix their problems so that they can, of course, you make money from them. They are also happy because they are able to save some costs because now they are able to generate foreign exchange. So a lot of importers now are beginning to export both commodities and finished products that they produce themselves if they are manufacturers. Then people who have orders from abroad and allies who have orders from their allies abroad. These are typical customers that you want to market as a banker. Companies who want to diversify into exportation. Companies who want to diversify into the business of exportation. Companies who want to diversify into the business of exportation. These are potential customers for a typical banker. Nigerians in diaspora seeking to sell products abroad. These are typical exporters, potential exporters that you want to market as your customer. Nigerians in diaspora seeking to sell products abroad. People with orders and funds but need support services. People with orders and funds but need support services. These are people you want to focus on and market to generate your income. People with orders and funds but need support services. Manufacturers looking for markets abroad. Manufacturers looking for markets abroad because they need to generate more forex, they need to expand their market, they need to grow their business. Manufacturers looking for market abroad. Established exporters who need funds to grow their volume. Established exporters who need funds to grow their volume. And then we have growing exporters who need funds to expand their operations. Professionals looking for plan B. Professionals looking for plan B, and they are looking for plan B in export business. And of course, state government who need to generate income in forex. State government who need to generate income in forex. These are potential import customers and potential export customers. For bankers looking for deposit and income, and for individuals looking for area of business where they can render services to people. They can render support services to people. So this session we are discussing for the next few days, which is emerging support services for trade customers, is designed for entrepreneurs that want to render support services to importers and exporters in Nigeria, and for bankers, employees looking to generate income and deposit for their bank. Looking to generate income and deposit for their bank. This promises to be very interesting, and I'm hoping it's going to be a very interesting journey for us in the next few days. I'll be rounding off now so that we can get back to work, and then we'll come back again in the evening to continue this conversation. My name remains Dele Ayemibo, and this is Import Export Platform. Thank you very much for joining again. See you in the evening, and have a great day.